I'm having a great chat with Philip Marten. He is a fellow at the Music Academy of the West this summer. Things are winding down. It's near the end of his 8-week visitation as a member of this amazing institution, which I think, and I'm going to ask you about it. Of course, it's your first summer here,
Yes.
but something about this affiliation with the New York Philharmonic, for me as a person who's watched this over several years, there's some kind of big energy going on. I'll talk to you about that in a bit. We'll see if you feel anything from your own,
Sure.
wide and vast experience. No kidding, because you are at Shepherd School of Music, Rice University. This is big. This is Houston. This is big city stuff.
Yeah.
But first, okay, I talked to you off camera. I want to know what is because it's always the small town person in everything. I mean, you never, people reach international levels. They can eat fancy foods. They can play in major concert halls. They can do all this stuff. And then the truth is, they're from, in your case, Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah.
Okay,
Middle
tell
of
me that
nowhere.
story.
Okay, well, technically I was born in Manhattan, but I wasn't really raised there. I was raised in even a smaller town called Independence, Kansas. Not Independence, Missouri, that's the one everybody knows.
Yeah.
Independence, Kansas. It's right on the Oklahoma border, middle of nowhere, 2 hours from the nearest overnight shipping possibility. It's crazy. And I spent 10 years of my life there, and that's where I started playing the violin.
Yeah.
But what happened was, when I was living there, my mom started taking me down to this festival in Tulsa, Oklahoma, called the OK Mozart Festival.
Yeah, with the flutist. What's his face?
Mhm.
I've forgotten his name.
Yeah, so Paul Neubauer, the violist, teaches at Juilliard now,
Yeah.
was at that festival, and I heard him do a recital, and I was just freaking out over this guy. I didn't know what was going on. I will never forget, he played some gypsy piece that was unbelievable, showpiece, and I was like, I want to play this. I want to do this. So I wanted to play the viola.
Oh.
And so after 4 years of begging and 3 years of piano lessons, my parents are okay. I mean, they kind of go, okay, we're in the middle of nowhere. Where are we going to get violin lessons or viola lessons for this kid? So there's actually a town called Parsons, Kansas, not too far away, maybe 30 minutes away.
Let me take notes. Okay.
All these
Okay.
little towns. Anyway,
Something
this is
about
actually
flat.
where
However you look at it, it's all flat. Go ahead.
it's
Sorry.
all flat, yeah. So the fun part is, this is the school where Dorothy DeLay taught at for,
Wow.
I don't know, probably not very long, but before she started her great long teaching career,
Yeah.
she had these kind of very young level students in this town, and she kind of passed on this legacy, and it had really died out by the time I was living there, but there was still a teacher there, and she only taught violin. She said, if you want to change to viola later, you can. Start with violin. So I started, and I practiced, and I loved it, and eventually my parents started driving farther for lessons for other teachers. And eventually, we finally ended up in Kansas City. And so I spent 3 years in high school in Kansas City, taking lessons from the former concertmaster of the symphony there, and being in the youth symphony there, and all that sort of stuff. So that's where I really got a lot of really great training after these people, kind of other teachers in the Suzuki program, had inspired me to keep practicing and learning this stuff. And so, yeah, I just kept going, and finally, by the time I...
Freezing up a little. We'll see if you open up. Damn.
there you are.
There we go.
Anyway, by the time I was in Kansas City, there was a great young arts community, and so I got to be part of the youth symphony and learn so much from all the great teachers there.
Yeah.
And then ended up at Rice after that.
Now, let's not do quite such a quick thing about suddenly you end up at Rice from Kansas City. We know, Kansas City, skyscrapers, big city, all that good stuff. Did you function in any way with the youth symphony at a high level, i.e. concertmaster? Where did you get
Yeah,
started?
so I got a lot of great experiences there, because in the youth symphony I was concertmaster for all 3 years that I was there.
There we go.
And I was also concertmaster of the all-state orchestra for all 3 years that I was there, and that was both great experiences for me. Learned so much from that.
Yeah.
There was an incredible chamber music program just starting up in Kansas City at the time called Heartland Chamber Music, and they have a summer festival, but they also have a year-long festival with several teachers, and I had quartets, very serious quartets that did competitions and whatnot all through high school, which was incredibly valuable experience. And these great coaches, my coach studied at CIM with Peter Salif, and so that was kind of fun to come here, and I would hear the same things. I was like, wow, that sounds so familiar. That's where he got his all these quotes that I would hear Mr. Salif say. It's like, yeah, I recognize that. I've heard that a million times before.
Fascinating. Yeah. And as I've said to you off camera, I mean, it was, you know, I'm the little local critic here, and I've been watching you in particular, but I've been watching this whole thing for all this particular summer. And you, as I've told you off camera, you are I'm not just kissing butt here, but you are a clear leader. I mean, and let's speak to that for a second. Give me a little rundown of what you have done in these past 7 weeks. Where have you functioned as concertmaster, orchestrally, first violinist in quartets, and so on? Give me a little reminder of what all you've done so far.
Well, this summer has had some great opportunities for me. During the second week of orchestra of the festival, I was put as concertmaster under Larry Ratcliffe,
whom you know,
who I know from Rice, obviously, and that was a huge opportunity. I haven't done any leadership in orchestra really. I mean, I've done some principal second barely since high school, so it was a huge opportunity to really test my skills at a much higher level than I had before.
Remind me the repertoire that you were.
It was Beethoven Fifth Symphony and Prokofiev Fifth Symphony, so big pieces, and it was a huge challenge, and I don't know if I lived up to it, but
you did. Don't worry, I was definitely out there. You did.
It was such a great opportunity to learn from that, and to learn from the people. I mean, Georgia Flizanos was sitting in the back of the section, constantly giving us her incredible advice, obviously. And that was great. I was always learning just all the time from Larry at the front and Miss Flizanis at the back. It was amazing. Yeah.
And how about, have you been involved in any of the leadership classes? You know, the concertmaster.
Yeah. So I've been in the string leadership master classes. I think we've been taught by Miss Flizanis. We've been taught by Mr. Traeger, Mr. Dictorow. I think if I'm forgetting anybody. And all of them have had their own take on what it takes. And there was a moment in the very first master class when Miss Flizanis was talking to us, and she kind of made the point of, whatever you're doing, it's not enough. Even if you think it's enough. You know, if you're giving 100%, you have to give 200%. If you're learning the notes, okay, then you're not researching it enough. You're not listening to enough recordings. You're not studying the score. And something kind of clicked when I heard that, and I was just like, wow, yeah, you're right. I'm not working hard enough. I need to step it up. This is a whole new level now, you know? You can get away with things sometimes because you get it when you're at school. You kind of get into a routine. Even somewhere like Rice, where the orchestra is incredible, you still get kind of into this routine where, you know, oh yeah, we have 6 weeks to learn this rep. It's fine. You know, I practiced enough. It's okay. And it was such a great moment because of that class, and I think she kind of backed that up, and Mr. Traeger and Mr. Dictorow also backed it up to kind of prove the point that you always have to be better than what you were and the people around you, and you always have to be pushing yourself and pushing the people around you to set those next levels.
Yeah, tremendous responsibility.
That was great.
Really a tremendous responsibility being concertmaster of an orchestra.
Right.
And let's this is your first summer at Music Academy of the West. Give me some kind of thing. I mean, we know about the palm trees and the naked women and the beach and the sun and all that good stuff, but what has it been? What has this experience been for you? You've been around. It's not. You know, you're at Rice. It's a major school of music. Give me the little subtle things that say, ooh. Aside from what you just told me.
Well, really the nice thing for me this summer has been how diverse the opportunities are. The past few summers, especially, I've been focusing a lot on chamber music festivals. So I was at Kneisel Hall, Norfolk Music Festival,
Ah,
places like that. I
I know
mean,
people.
amazing, amazing places, but there's no orchestra. Um,
You'll come back to me. I know it. We'll be okay. Passing overhead aircraft. There you go.
did you catch any of that?
Well, something about amazing.
Okay. Okay, I'll start. So
The chamber music experience, that has been amazing. But
yeah,
are you
so
saying that this
but
is really your first?
here it's
Yeah.
been so different because there's so many different uh, kind of layers to it. I mean, you have that constant orchestra experience that you're getting. I mean, I've learned so much from getting a huge variety of conductors
Yeah.
everywhere from Alan Gilbert to Edward Gardner to Larry Radcliffe. And of course, this next week, Thomas Addis is coming in, which is very exciting.
Amazing.
I mean, all these incredibly different
Yeah. Yeah.
conductors is huge. You don't get that very often. And I mean, I was in the quartet program that started the festival
Yeah. I remember.
and studied with Takash Quartet and then Peter Salif. And then we were also in the vocal chamber concert, studying with Warren Jones and playing with these incredible singers, unbelievable singers. And that's a great experience. And then this week I've been doing some new music stuff with Joshua Roman. I mean, I think the piece we're playing tonight is maybe 3 years old.
Is this
And
his
so
his
that's
piece?
amazing.
It's his piece, right?
No, I'm in the
Oh.
Cerrone
Oh.
Nightmare.
Okay,
But
because that program I haven't even looked at it yet. I'll be
yeah,
there tonight. But I mean a composition by Josh himself.
yeah, he's doing
Schnittke.
unfortunately none of that.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
give me
Schnittke.
sonata, cello sonata. My God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And this is part of what I think I'm the guy that's been here all these years watching this stuff. And what I'm seeing is this enormous, I mean, absolutely enormous leap, even from last summer. Now that there is this really powerful affiliation with the New York Philharmonic,
Sure.
and something about bringing in all these major artists and playing really contemporary repertoire.
Right.
What of that are you going to take back to Rice? Because Rice certainly, and Ratcliffe is magnificent conductor, fabulous conductor. How do this repertoire that you've been looking at and playing this summer compare with what you will be getting at Rice? I mean, is it extraordinary or is it about the same or what?
Well, I mean, a lot of the repertoire overlap. I mean, when I get back to Rice, the first concert we're doing is Prokofiev Fifth Symphony. Um,
He didn't learn it for nothing.
uh, the biggest difference is there we have 6 weeks to learn a piece. Here we have 6 days.
Okay, so what does that mean?
And so it demands you to know your part
The
so
six-
well
the
on
six
day
day
one.
thing. The 6 day thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I mean, especially with Alan Gilbert, from day one, he was constantly, and he talked about this in his interview with Glenn Dicterow here. He is so demanding when it comes to accuracy and playing together and unified sound and unified articulation. And Larry Radcliffe is so specific in what he wants, and that's one of the greatest things about him. But it was really interesting to see what other people were demanding because, I mean, Mr. Radcliffe kind of demands it all, which is great.
That's why they bring.
It's
That's why
awesome.
they bring him in deliberately always,
No.
just to
Um,
shake everybody up and get them in shape. I
But
love it.
it's
I love that
interesting.
man.
In the 6 day time span, the conductors tend to focus on one or two aspects of the orchestra.
Mm.
Like with Alan Gilbert, it was just absolute unification. With Edward Gardner, it was kind of creating these giant landscapes, and I mean, we were doing huge music with him. So that was really interesting to see how their styles came out in such a short time span for a student orchestra to learn it. So, and it kind of makes you realize that's probably how it is in professional orchestras more so because you have
That's
maybe
the
3
point.
or 4 rehearsals and the
That's
conductor has to pick
Yeah.
something to focus on. And you kind of start to note the regularities of what they want and what's important to them. And that's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fascinating. And so, what are what's the 5-year plan? You're going to go back to Rice, presumably.
Yeah.
Are you concertmaster at Rice or what? Where do you fit
No,
in?
it's a rotation system,
A
so
rotation.
I've sat just about
But
everywhere.
you do occasionally.
I have not. No, I've been principal second once on a Mahler symphony, and that was incredible. And
Are you playing second or first fiddle at Rice generally? You
it's
realize,
very even. It's
okay,
very
you
even.
realize things will be different
We'll see.
because you did
I mean,
function
it's
as
a
concert.
very there's a lot of grad students there, and
Uh,
so they get a lot of the opportunities,
uh,
and you know, I haven't had the experience they've had, so I don't think I can quite hold up to their standards yet.
a couple poison pills, a little to spread the flu, and you got the gig. But I mean, again, I've watched you, I've watched others. I mean, you
Mm.
have just an amazing. Your whole body language is a leader. So I hope I'll see you next summer just to compare notes on how things went this coming year
Sure.
at Rice in terms
Yeah.
of new opportunities. And then, you know, what we all know, me too, the horror of, frankly, of a career in
Yeah.
this now more than ever esoteric art
Right.
form. Let alone you came from Manhattan, Kansas, and somehow got to this position. What is this? What is your next 5-year plan? How does that feel? What does it look like? What's going on?
Well, it's really easy for music students my age, to kind of walk out, especially. I mean, for me, I've still got grad school. You know, I've got 3 more years to think about it. Um, but it's easy to walk out of grad school saying, "Oh, I need to get a job now. Like I have to get a permanent orchestra job, whatever." And yes, for me, I think that's probably the ultimate goal. But I've kind of come to the conclusion, and even accepted and embraced the fact that there's a lot of smaller opportunities that you can put together in music, to create a life out of. You know, there's, for example, if I ended up in LA, you can do studio
Yes.
gigs and teaching, and I love all of those sort of things. In Houston now, I gig and I teach occasionally, and I love doing
Yeah.
that. It's great fun. Um, so I've kind of come to the point where if I can be playing with good musicians and learning from what they do in any situation, even if we're playing simple music for simple audiences, and that's great, then I'm having a great time. You know, I love that. That's awesome. And if the people are enjoying what we're doing, then even better.
Yeah.
And ultimately, yeah, hopefully I can learn enough through those experiences that I can get maybe a permanent orchestra position. But until then, I would be so happy just being out there putting it together, sort of piecing together a lifestyle.
You're 22, I think, right? Have I
21.
21?
Mhm.
So yeah, there's still some time. And besides
Right.
besides that, you don't have a clue what the music is yet. That's just me speaking as an old man.
Yeah.
And now I'm 66. I'm finally kind of beginning to
Right.
understand the deepness
Right.
of this
Right.
repertoire that we devote our lives to.
Yeah.
And as you said, there's nothing like the studio gigs in L.A. Holy moly, what income, what
Yeah.
wonderfulness. So listen, Philip Marten, thank you very much for
Thank
finding
you.
a little time, because I know you've been crazy busy. We've touched base 2 or 3 times. It gives me, and it'll give my people out there that are going to be watching this interview, just an idea of this stunning opportunity at the Music
Yeah.
Academy of the West in Santa Barbara, and how it draws people from all over the world.
Yeah.
And that the experiences are worthwhile for all of you. And you're all at a very, student is not the appropriate word. You are all at a very, very high level of early professional experience, for sure. So let me thank you for giving me some time. I'll probably see you tonight at
Yeah.
Josh Groman's recital. And that's it. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Hang on now.